as a work thing, I don't know where I see this going, and I've progressed more when I was like, okay, I don't want to make money out of it. I just want to break even and be happy with things that are going. And I found progress in my work way faster that way. But I do feel like approaching at a point where I can happily be like, okay, I can sell this and I'm happy with things. So I just want to work and make ideas come to life, and that's it. Hello, Dispatch. This is Fatima Bilwani. I am a ceramicist from Karachi, and welcome to my studio. I used to go to a ceramic mom and pop studio in Houston, Texas. I used to go after work. So basically, I worked as a mechanical engineer. And then after work, I used to go over there and I learned ceramics. And then when I moved to Pakistan, I decided I don't want to work as an engineer. And that's where the journey started. It's been 7 years now. I think it was just the obsession on the wheel. Once you get on the wheel and nothing works, then you're like, I need to figure this skill out. And that's when I just spent hours and hours in the studio. And I still feel like I am now getting to the point where I understand the wheel and I can work with it. But it's taken quite some time. Being a craftsperson, you have an idea, but the skill is not there. And now I've come to a point where my skills are meeting my thought process. So now I'm more thinking about what I want, what's going to be my inspiration. Right now I'm going to focus on Mughal designs, or I'm going to focus on, Pakistani cuisine. So it is slowly creeping into my work, but it wasn't a first thought process initially. It is a very technical thing. In fact, my background is in material sciences, and it's very much, you play with iterations of different chemicals, and you have to be very conscious of like the melting points, because it doesn't matter if it's like a decorative piece, but if you're using it for food safe pieces, you need to make sure there's nothing toxic. But that's the basic thing. Like, okay, you don't use lead, but then you also have to make sure that the ratios are correct so that the melting point is reached at a point where nothing is porous. So there's no bacterial growth in your clay. So that is very important to understand when you do glazing. Ceramics is glass. It's mostly silica. And silica melts at 1400 Celsius, and our kiln, it just depends on the temperature you're firing at. So right now I'm firing at 1040. So I need to make sure that the silica melts at a lower temperature. So you add a frit to it or a flux to it. And then there's stain and there's a clay body. So typically glazes are made out of 4 things. But you will have to play with the iterations of what amount of flux you need to put in for the temperature you're looking at. So I did my daughter's birthday party where I made like Lego cookie jars for kids and they glazed. That was where I tested these underglazes out and they worked out fine. So that's when I was like, okay, now I'm confident with my recipes and now I can further my work where I don't have to worry about things not working out in the kiln. Worked with Pakistani ceramicists too, and one of the things I feel, which I'm kind of jealous, that they're very flamboyant with their process. Hai to ho gaya. And I'm like, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, and it's, you kind of end up being in your head at times and you don't move forward with things. So sometimes I look at them with, jealousy, like they're so flamboyant and it comes very artistically. But for me, I like it step by step. Sometimes it's good because when there are issues, because I've been observing everything, I can pinpoint things easily. But then, as I said, you can just end up being in your head all the time because you're so methodical. With American ceramics, it's very, as I said, everything is, your clay is ready and your glazes are ready. You have a beautiful idea and you just put it down. So it's very easy in that way. But with Korea, I find there's a similarity in Korean history of pottery and Pakistani history of pottery, where the potters were poor people and they figured out how to mass produce quickly. And if you see a Pakistani potter working on the wheel, it's a very similar process. It's very fast and there's no time to make mistakes. You just go on produce. So there's that similarity. But one thing that Pakistan has been lacking is just infrastructure. And one of the major reasons I want to change my clay and make it go high fire is because the quality of the clay is better, the quality of the piece is better if you put in that extra gas money to just make things better. So you do find the quality of Pakistanics is lacking because the importance in the craft was not given. So yes, I started making my own clay. And one of the things with making your own clay is that you have to go at a higher temperature. It vitrifies at a higher temperature. And the higher the temperature, the better the quality, because clay at the end of the day is glass. So it's going to be better quality. So it's just basic raw materials that you source from chemical market, and you do it outside because you don't want clay dust in a closed area. And I typically make around 100 to 200 kilos of clay in one go. It's amazing how even if you have like China clay, if you use that, sometimes the quality of the clay would change with the China clay that you've ordered. It just varies separate differently, and you need to play with like the plasticity and change it a little bit. It's like a recipe you kind of play with and tweak according to how the material is. If people say it's calming, for me it's mostly been frustrating, but I come back to it, so that means there is an element where I want to do it all the time. And after having kids they've been a huge source of inspiration. When you go into like corporate life and everything is boring. And when you start reading like illustrated books and all of that, you get this, your creativity comes back and you want to make things. And I still have a notebook of the list of things my daughter has told me that she wants me to make. My son has told me, and they're really nice ideas, something that we as adults don't come up with. Like she wants a lion cub lamb. So that is something I know I couldn't do back then, but I know I'm working towards where I can achieve it now. So it's just like technical point and what you want to make. There was a disparity, and it's coming together. So it's nice to have those come to life. But as a craftsman, you're always looking for inspiration in the sense, and what makes me is I'm Pakistani, right? So where do you turn to when you want to get inspired? You look back at your surroundings. And one of the things the thing about being in subcontinent is like you get so many influences. And right now I feel in the ceramic or the art space, it's a lot of like Islamic art. There's a lot of it, especially when I first learned how to fire the kiln. I got a lot of melted pieces. I overfired and everything was melted. And I was like, okay, so I can try third try. And then I just put a huge chunk of amount into gas cylinders. I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna sit down and figure this out. So failure just comes, and even now my kids know that something goes in the kiln, there is a huge chance it can crack. So, and that's perfectly fine. I think it's a gorgeous concept, and I've also done it. I have a bowl on it. But again, it happened because I was raku firing and everything cracked, so I fixed it. But again, it does show a technical error on my part and fixing it. So yes, there is beauty in imperfection, but there was the intention of making it properly was there. And I think that is more important. Like